You've totally cleared your desk, your notebook is out, your highlighter is uncapped, and you're staring down a massive textbook. You are completely ready to study. But somehow, almost as if by magic, 40 minutes vanish, and you end up deep in a rabbit hole watching someone build a literal swimming pool out of mud. So why does that happen? You sit down with the absolute best intentions, but before you even consciously realize what's going on, you're scrolling. Well, right out of the gate, I want you to know something absolutely crucial. It's not because you're lazy, and it is definitely not a lack of willpower. What's actually happening is a fundamental mismatch between how human neurobiology evolved to seek out rewards and how modern short-form apps are perfectly engineered to exploit that exact wiring.
Because let's be real, we've all told ourselves the same lie, right? I'll just check my notifications real quick. Or I'm just gonna watch one short to clear my head. And boom, 2 minutes turns into 20. This is the core mystery we're diving into in this explainer. To understand why your brain hijacks your study session before it even starts, we have to look at what your mind is truly trying to accomplish in that precise moment of friction.
Which brings us to the concept of short-term mood repair. And spoiler alert, procrastination is not just poor time management. Some really groundbreaking research shows that procrastination is actually a form of short-term emotional relief seeking. When you look at a difficult physics chapter or a blank document, your brain doesn't logically say, "Oh, I hate my future and I want to fail this class." Instead, it registers the task as highly aversive. It literally says, "I am experiencing stress and frustration right now and I need to escape this unpleasant feeling immediately." You aren't avoiding the work, you're just looking for quick mood repair. And this brilliantly illustrates the negative reinforcement loop that so many of us get trapped in. You look at the book, you feel stressed. You pick up the phone to watch a video, and suddenly the stress vanishes. Because that unpleasant feeling goes away, your brain learns that reaching for the phone is the absolute perfect escape hatch. It reinforces the behavior. So the next time you feel academic stress, the subconscious urge to grab that phone is going to be even stronger.
Let's talk about the immediate reward trap.
This is exactly why the wildly popular dopamine detox narrative is honestly a bit too simplistic. It's not just that apps give you more dopamine. Neurobiology actually shows that dopamine fires on the anticipation of a reward. Researchers call this reward prediction error. Think about it. Studying requires high effort right now, and the reward, a good grade, is certain, but it's weeks away. But an app? It's a slot machine. It takes zero effort and delivers an unpredictable, variable burst of entertainment the exact second you tap the glass. Your brain is literally hardwired to chase that unpredictable anticipation. Because of this, your brain pulls a little trick called delayed discounting, meaning it steeply discounts the value of any future rewards. Cognitive science points to areas like the parahippocampal gyrus, which handles how we picture the future. To your brain, the future you, who gets the A+, feels like a totally abstract stranger. But the present you who wants to laugh at a meme, that person is right here, right now. So how do we actually map this out? Well, there's a literal motivation equation. Researchers use a fascinating framework called temporal motivation theory to calculate exactly how our brain decides what to do. It's a mathematical formula. At the top of the equation, you multiply expectancy, which is your confidence that you can actually succeed at the task, by value, how much you care about the reward. Then you divide all of that by your impulsiveness multiplied by the delay, which is how far away that reward actually is. And right at the bottom of that equation, added to the delay and impulsiveness, sits the number 1. It's a mathematical constant. This ensures that as the delay stretches out and as your environment becomes filled with impulsive distractions like your phone buzzing, that bottom number gets absolutely massive. And when you divide your goals by a massive number, your motivation plummets to near zero. But wait, if that's true, why does the deadline suddenly work? This equation perfectly explains the magical, almost superhuman focus we've all felt the night before an exam. 30 days out, the delay variable is huge, so motivation is practically zero. But as that deadline approaches, that delay variable shrinks and shrinks until it hits almost zero. Now you're dividing by a tiny number, which causes your urgency and motivation to spike exponentially. Panic mode activated. Psychologists call this temporal avoidance. You didn't suddenly become a highly disciplined genius at 11 p.m. Your personality didn't change at all. The temporal proximity of the deadline just forced action. Why? Because the negative consequence of failing transformed from a fuzzy, abstract future problem into an immediate, terrifying, real-world threat.
So, how do we start working with our brains instead of against them?
Once you understand this math, you can completely drop the guilt and start hacking the variables yourself. Shrink the delay by setting aggressive micro-deadlines. Tell yourself you only have to read one page in the next 10 minutes. Boost your expectancy by breaking tasks into ridiculously easy steps to avoid that aversive stress response we talked about. And crucially, lower your impulsiveness by physically moving your phone to another room. Make it so that variable reward is no longer immediate. Now, I want you to remember a really powerful, kind of hidden cost from the research. Every time you choose short-term mood repair, even just for a minute, you leave behind what researchers call attention residue. It's like a lingering cognitive fog that quietly weakens your focus when you finally do look back at the textbook. By taking that quick break, you're effectively handing a massive stress bill directly to the future version of yourself.
Throughout this explainer, the big takeaway is that we need to rewrite the story we tell ourselves. Shifting this narrative removes the intense shame that surrounds studying. It allows you to recognize procrastination not as a personal failing, but simply as an emotional signal. It's literally just a blinking warning light on your mental dashboard, telling you, hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed and I'm looking for a way out. Your brain isn't broken. It's doing exactly what it evolved to do, just inside a digital world that's perfectly designed to capture it. But now that you know the mechanism, the power is entirely in your hands. How will you start working with your mental architecture instead of fighting it? Next time you sit down to study, remember the math, acknowledge the emotions, and seriously, just put the phone in another room. You've got this.